What's going on, guys? And welcome back to Vinny's Corner here on the We Like Sports Network with my boy Cove. My kind of regular guest host,
something like
partner
that.
in crime, whatever you want to call it, the Bald Brothers, whatever works, right? So listen, before we get started, the regular thing, we're going to cut to the intro, and then we're going to come back and we're going to look at that little tagline that Cove has under his name there and jump right into the NHL. All right, guys? Be right back.
Purdue as Mitchell looks for an answer.
Ooh, pure, nothing but net.
Garland to the basket, stole the inbound pass. He lays it in.
Basketball down there.
Very high percentage shot for him from that spot.
Merrill for three.
Tristan Thompson on the floor. Diaz, three, that's short. Hard rebound, ricochets out to Merrill for three again.
For the We Like Sports Show, tune in and see the latest the crew has to say regarding the latest sports topics nationally and locally. Make sure to check out our website as well, WeLikeSportsPC.com. Subscribe on all platforms, including podcast platforms, YouTube, TikTok, and much more. And be sure to follow us on X at We Like Sports PC.
Started with Anderson and Ramirez.
He said, let's go, right? Yeah, I'm sure he wants the game to start, but they won't let it. And rightfully so.
All right, guys, welcome back to Vinny's Corner here on We Like Sports. And like I said, so you guys can see under Cove's name here, it says Utah or Calgary NHL. So let's jump right in. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Long story short, long-time Red Wing fan, but kind of lost the love of hockey in the last few years. So really watching it. But wanted to get back in. Did not want to go back to Detroit because, yes, I was loyal to them. And I know you don't understand, Vince, about how, switching team, right? You've always asked that, right? But I just don't feel like I have the love for Detroit like I used to, so I'm just trying to pick a new team.
Okay.
So I asked around what people would think as a fan, and then now it's come down to, it comes down to me, but it doesn't have to be Canadian, it doesn't have to be American. So I thought of best of two worlds, and I thought of Calgary being the best Canadian team and Utah being the most interesting team to go look after, because I like their players on each team.
So just to throw it in there, right? If I'm going to go with a new team tomorrow, and I'm not, but if I was, I like the idea of going with Utah just because it's a whole new thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just it's something new that you can get behind. So I think it could be very interesting.
Well, technically it's Arizona.
Yeah. And Calgary, you know what you're going to hear from detractors right now. If you're like, oh, Calgary, this and that, they're going to go, oh, so you picked the best team in the NHL and that's who you want to beat, And
I honestly didn't even look at the record. I had nothing to do with, and my buddy, my best friend Travis there, you knew him, Drama.
Yeah.
I mean, he ripped about the Tigers being 5-0 start. It's like same thing as the Flames being 4-0. That doesn't matter in hockey.
It's really early in the season, and
4-0 is not bad. Had no bearing to my choices. They could be 0-4.
And the thing is with hockey, right? The season's going to go for another 7 months, 8 months. Something.
Yeah.
So,
but no, the thing is this from months ago. I was backing the Florida Panthers, right? And I liked the Panthers from 15 to about their run with the playoffs, right? Because I called them as the winner way before because I was ripping on the Rangers, right? With Panthers, way back then with Jones. So I like the Panthers last few years, but they're champs. I like underdog stories kind of thing. That's just where I was. That's why I like the Panthers, because they were an underdog in 15. But they got Mackenzie Weegar and Jonathan Huberdeau, who I love as a Panther, in Calgary with Dustin Wolf. So I just like that trio of players.
I feel like
in Calgary. But see, Arizona, I love Keller, and they have Ingram. He's a young, upcoming goalie.
Yeah, they had a lot of pieces in place already when, before they did anything. And, so like, who was saying something about this? My buddy Steve, we'll keep it to his boss. He goes by Boston Cashews, right? And so he was talking about, like, people are so surprised by this, but like, Arizona had a solid core already, but they were missing a couple of things. And in that transition to Utah and in the offseason, they were able to put those things in place. So this team
plus a new identity. So they have a new love for it.
Yeah.
They're the first of something.
People get excited about that. New. Even the players, like, they feel like, hey, you know what? It's a new day for us. We can do something different. So the NHL season's been pretty fun so far to start. So, I'm a Las Vegas man now, but I'm a New Yorker originally. Unfortunately, I am actually the Islanders' curse. I was born 6 months after they 4 months after they last won.
Oh, really? Come on. I was born every year that they won.
So I was born, right? So they won their last one in 83, and then a few months later, Vince came along and they've never won a cup again. So, I'm sorry, Islanders fans, but I rock with my team. I love them. One of my best friends, Jewish guy, family from Brooklyn. We both moved out from the city. We're raised out on Long Island. Went to like high school there and everything. And he was big on hockey. He loves the Isles, and he got me into the Islanders. I've been with them ever since. But when you move into the desert, like this city, Las Vegas, is so heavy. Like, I can take pictures when I drive around of murals for the Golden Knights on walls. Like, they got so hardcore behind them. I have an indoor ice hockey rink down the street from my home. Mm-hmm. And it's always from like 6 a.m. to 8 o'clock at night. The parking lot's always packed. Like people want their desert kids to be the next Golden Knights. And the Golden Knights have been really exciting. They've been scoring a ton of goals this season. They met their match in the Capitals yesterday.
By Thompson.
Yeah, it happens. It happens to the best of us, So they're 3-1. Good start to the season. I think for me, here's the thing. It's so early in the season.
Oh, yeah. No, it's 100%. Like,
I need to see.
We haven't really talked hockey because it hasn't really happened, right?
Yeah.
I don't count preseason. In any sport.
I don't count preseason in any sport.
Any sport.
But here's my thing. I like to see a team set the tone, So, like, I would love to see Utah set the tone. I would love to see VGK set the tone so they come out strong, It's exciting. But of course, there's just so much time and the game is so physical that the structure of this team by mid-season can look totally different because half of these guys can be injured.
Oh, yeah.
And so
when I was talking to you about those shows, that was the premise of the whole thing. It's like hockey is the hardest trophy to win because the body takes the most physical action through the entire season. The team you start with is not the team you finish with, ultimately.
Well, you're right. And here's the thing. Even take all the physicality out of it and just get down to the most basic aspect, ice skating, right? How many guys have ice skated before? How fucking hard is ice skating? Like, I can ice skate, but I'm not great going backwards the way that they move on them. No way. It's a whole different thing.
I mean, 80s and 90s for sure, but by the 2000s, a lot of you guys, all Americans, have been fucking just as fast as us now. We're still no faster than some Russians. Like, I swear to God. Both of us.
There's always so you're going to have your Finnish players and your Swedes that pop in there, but like the core 3 countries are America, Canada, and Russia, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So
Well, I
don't
mean,
expect
like
that to change.
my 3 favorite loves growing up watching that sport: Bure, McGillney, and Fedorov.
Yo, Pavel was amazing to watch.
Oh man,
He was amazing. Like when you knew you were gonna have to go up against Pavel Bure, it was just like,
And
how many goals is this guy scoring?
Pavel Bure as a Florida Panther really blew me away.
Yeah, it's one
Fedorov,
of those sports. Like,
what McGillney became a Maple Leaf at one point.
yeah, Alexander McGillney, he was awesome.
Yeah.
So I tell a lot of people this. I got into the Avs, and like I've always liked the Avs ever since because
My best friend Kevin, man, it was like that. He was a Montreal fan growing up, East Coast, right? Montreal fan, and he automatically went to the Avs because Patrick Roy.
Patrick Roy, he's my favorite player ever in the game of hockey. I love that guy.
I love
watching him skate out and start a fight. I love it.
See,
he's got such energy.
I love the Red Wings, so I had to hate the Avs.
Yeah, of
but
course.
I love the Nordiques.
But so from him, and as a result of that, and of course, like I was always a defensive-minded player in every sport. Like I played defense in soccer when I played. That wasn't my sport, but I was a defensive tackle in football. I like the defensive side of sports.
Yeah.
And so my favorite players were Adam Foote in Av, Zdeno Chara in Islander, of course, and then Alexei Zhitnik. I loved Alexei Zhitnik. That was my guy,
Well, since you were talking about Islanders, like
and Zubov, legend.
Zygmunt Palffy.
Zygmunt Palffy, like so.
Well, you mean you grew up with Zygmunt, though?
He's one of the greats for us. Like, so one of my best friends was so hardcore. Like, he had so many jerseys, but the one that he always wore was his Zygmunt Palffy jersey.
Oh my god,
always. Always.
Have to. Okay, depending on the area you grow up, because there's a few guys obviously from the '80s team as the Islanders you'd see like Smith or whatnot.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You can still see Billy Smith jersey out there. Facts.
Yeah. So I mean, Zygmunt Palffy's number 2 for the younger generations, like the ones that are just a little bit younger than us. It was the Zygmunt Palffy. I want to find a Zygmunt Palffy fisherman jersey.
Oh, the fisherman jersey. It looks like Gordon's fish sticks. Oh, it's terrible.
I love it. I love it.
That's love that jersey. Worst, no way, dude. One of the worst jerseys in the history of jerseys.
Okay, like I live on an island and I'm from an island. I like it.
Well, and so that's actually my mindset. Like you can't really see it, but on my arm, that's Poseidon in there. I've got mermaids, I've got fish, I've got an octopus. People are like, well, what's that about? I'm like, I live in the desert now, but I was born on an island. I was raised on an island. Like, I'm from New York. New York is connected islands. That's what it is.
I swear to God, and I'll say this to you. If you were, I know you're more Vegas, but if you were more an Islander fan, I would think that I'd probably get into the Islanders because there's someone else I know that's into a team. It'd get me more into it.
Dude, I mean, there are guys on this team now that like I love to watch play hockey. Like I love to watch Nelson play. Matt Barzal is probably my favorite player in hockey right now, hands down. I love that guy. Like I would root for him on it. He's one of those guys I'd root for on any team. If he left the Islanders, I'd have to still cheer for him because I just love that guy the way he plays. And then my man Palmieri is also a legend. So now, all right, listen. We love hockey. It's the start of the season, but it's the end of the season somewhere else. Major League Baseball.
Yes.
So let's talk some baseball. And now we got some questions here. We got Cove's questions as always. But before we jump into Cove's questions, let's just talk a little bit about what we're seeing right now. The NLCS, the ALCS. Let's start with the NLCS because we have a game coming up shortly, and Cove will have a space going on for that. I will make sure to jump in there. I'll be running around a little bit, but I'll get in there. So what are your thoughts? Like, what happens tonight? Series is tied 1-1. The Dodgers have been at home, right? So we're in New York tonight, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And Severino's pitching. What do you think happens in Queens tonight? You
have to beat the Dodgers. You have to. If you lose to the Dodgers at home first, it's a potential Game 4 loss. And then they're up.
Well, that's the
You know,
thing, right?
and they're going home.
That's my
there's
thing.
3 games. There's 3 games in New York, right? So, this is New York's time to get it. If the Dodgers rip them apart 2 out of 3 at home, the Dodgers take it. But I mean, it all depends. Game 3, these I call them like the miracle Mets, like they did in the '62, right? Ironically, same year, right? The worst year the Mets had, the White Sox did it this year, and now the Mets are only 3 wins away from the World Series.
Listen, I understand what the Dodgers are, and
yeah, but history repeats itself. You know that in baseball, history repeats itself. Maybe
listen,
it's the Mets down the Dodgers.
If the Dodgers if they could have kept the Mets quiet in the last game instead of giving up 7 runs, it might have been over.
33 innings, we all thought they were over.
Bro, that's the thing is that
New York fans, we all thought they were over because 33 innings. Come on now.
And that's what I'm saying.
They hit their wall, though.
The Mets broke it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, now they're back in Queens. I feel like it's the Mets to lose.
And winning it in New York. How do you think New York's going to feel if they win it in the 3 games?
If they went 3 in a row, my God.
4 in a row. My God. 4 in a row.
If they went, but 3 in a row in New York.
3 in a row.
Forget it.
3 in New York, and the solidify the series, and the Yankees, because I know you will get on that in half a second, in that sense. But the Yankees go in, then you got Subway Series. I know. I mean,
it's been 24 years.
Yeah.
25 years.
As I call them, the Yanks, because you know who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. They got to experience it. They didn't really experience it because they were babies.
That's a fact.
So
that's a fact.
They're gonna be wild. So my space on that is gonna be wild with them. If it's New York versus New York, but you heard them, they don't want a New York versus New York. They don't want it.
Well, listen, nobody in the country outside of New York, unless they're a guy like me from New York who lives somewhere else, wants a Subway Series. Mm-hmm. But New York, everybody in New York wants that Subway Series.
Dude,
everybody wants it.
Judge woke up. I mean, you woke up playoff Judge. Come on now.
That's literally, I mean, listen.
I mean, there's not been a playoff Judge, but I mean, he's solidifying the MVP that he's not hitting the slump. He had a short little slump, but now he's broken open. Now Judge can swing.
And listen, I don't think that I think Cleveland is lucky to walk away with 1 game.
Yeah, lucky. Yeah,
I think the Yankees are ready to rock.
If the Yankees go fucking into New York, or they go in New York. No, they're going Cleveland. I was talking to my hard at home, so
I know, and they do have quite a bullpen. But you know what?
They saved it right enough with the Game 5. They saved it enough that I think it could take one. They have to take the next game. Yankees can't take 3. I mean, Yankees momentum with possible the Mets at that same time clinching it if they win. If we predicted the Mets win 3 straight, the Yankees would know. So the Yankees would just try to go. Yeah, we don't want November World Series. I mean, both are thinking they're going to take each other out in 4 for sure as New Yorkers.
Hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah, call.
So to me, it's super exciting. I'm stoked for it.
I mean,
my wife
asked the community before, Ant's community, and he was saying they all want that series, but they also love the baseball no matter who wins.
That's a fact.
It's exciting. It's exciting baseball for everybody.
Dude,
we had not Yankees and not Dodgers. I mean, other teams like Padres and say KC. It would be a different playoff.
Completely.
But you have the 2 MVPs possibly meeting up if LA can come around, or if not.
In LA versus New York, just like city versus city, MVP versus MVP, it would be so huge for baseball.
We were talking about it a week ago.
One of them's Japanese, one of them's American. There's so many storylines. If LA and New York play each other, it's just incredible. But I want the Subway Series anyway. I'm not gonna lie.
Can we inhabit a trade that have Mike Trout play for the Yankees because then there'll be Trout and Judge versus Ohtani?
That'd be different. That'd be different.
Give Mike his chance at a World Series.
I mean, a healthy. Everyone knows what a healthy Mike Trout is about, man. There are a few players that have ever been better than that guy when he's healthy. All right, we talked a little bit about what we think about the ALCS and the NLCS. Now let's jump into Cove's questions, right? So, question number 1 we got today. If the White Sox were to relocate, and hopefully if any of our fans are listening and you want to chime in the comments, which city would you choose for them to relocate to and why?
Nashville. As a White Sox fan, Nashville. Please, Nashville. Nashville will love – they'll rebrand the White Sox, or they might not, depending on how the sale goes. But Nashville will love the White Sox.
Well, and so the middle of the country here in America, obviously, is huge on baseball. Like the Mid-Atlantic region on the East Coast has a huge baseball culture. And I think that would be really exciting. Like when I went to West Virginia University, like West Virginia was good at baseball, and Tennessee's right next door. Like one of my good friends, he coaches a travel team from New Jersey. They travel up and down the East Coast and play all the time. I just got one in here. Somebody said the Oakland White Sox. That would be awesome.
I suggest that in our one.
That would be awesome.
And they go, how the fuck? Like in that sense, like, so the A's move and the A's come back at the same time.
Listen, here's what would be like. This would be my thing, right? You leave the name Athletics, Las Vegas Athletics, let it ride, and then you become the Oakland White Sox. Or maybe the Black Sox, who knows? But like a new name or the White Sox. But in Oakland, Oakland fans love their sports.
Yeah, no, I get that. But they said if Oakland gets a team back, then they have to be the Athletics. They have to be.
I mean,
that's how they sold their team. They said we keep the colors, so Vegas is gonna be all new colors, all new name. We know that.
Probably black and silver, black and gold. It's going to be Vegas likes black.
Yeah, but if you haven't noticed in sports, a lot of teams look similar in colors.
Right. And so Golden Knights, black, gold, and white, right?
Yeah.
The Aces, black, gold, or black, silver, and white.
Yeah.
So it's going to be something in that. Blue collar team. Oh, I like this. So DMG that's shouting in from YouTube, right? He says the same thing. Oakland deserves a team, a blue collar team, and a blue collar city. I like that. That's a good attitude. You know what? And honestly, for the fact that area lost so much in such a short time, you know what I mean? I mean, the Raiders and the Athletics, like that's tough. That's rough, and they do deserve it because honestly, like if you talk to anyone who's like a real sports fan, even the ones who still support them as the Las Vegas Raiders, etc., one of the big things everyone says is like, dude, you never been to a tailgate until you've been to a tailgate in an athletics game or at a Raiders game. You never been to a sporting event until you've been to one in Oakland. And I've never had the opportunity. If a new team does go out there, I will make a point to get to that stadium. Whatever new stadium comes up, I'm sure it'll be awesome. That would be fire. I like that idea a lot.
They'll be able to see a lot more baseball now.
For sure. And so I live not too far from the AAA team out here, the Aviators. But, I'll be honest, my whole focus has been boxing, boxing. And with just having a kid in the last year, I've been on my couch watching boxing on the big screen. Everything else comes second. But I agree. I think Oakland would be, to me, that would be like one of the best ones. I don't even know who my next thought would be, but I really like that Oakland idea. That's the way to go. I like that.
Like Portland.
I don't know.
Oregon?
The Pacific Northwest is like I don't know. It's weird for sports for me, but like maybe like Portland would be good. You got the Mariners up there already, and they've got a huge following. I'm sure that there's a lot of fans that are closer to the Portland side of the world that would move to Portland, that would move to that team.
You got like minor league hockey, baseball. There's probably basketball.
You got the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, it can happen.
Absolutely. Okay, now moving along to our second question. And you know what, guys? Before our second question, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. If you're a gym guy like Vince and you need a nice little pre-workout, check out W.com. W's a good pre-workout, no jitters involved. And if you use the We Like Sports with a Z promo code, you will get a 10% discount on your order. That being said, question number 2. How do you think the winner of Game 3 between the Mets and the Dodgers will impact the momentum of the series going forward?
Because Game 3s always matter.
Always matter. They're huge. Like the percentages, you know what? I'm going to look that up real quick, what the percentage is on like teams that win Game 3. But it's usually like that's a swing game. Games 3 and 4 are swing games, If the away team, like the Dodgers could really take a lot out of the Mets by taking that first game at home, They take that first one, they could really deflate the Mets, Yeah. But at the same time, if the Mets take that game at home and go up 2-1, knowing they have 2 more games at home, that could be dangerous. We could be looking at a Subway Series. I love that. I love that idea. So that one, it goes both ways. Now, next question up. So with the Yankees dominating the first 2 games, right? The first game was a little sketchy, right? A lot of balls in the dirt, walking people around the bases. They almost gave us that game, right? Let's just call it what it is. It was important that the Yankees came out in Game 2 and just put it on offensively like they did to show like, hey, listen, they handed us that one, but that was just their bad luck. It wasn't our good luck. You know what I mean? And so for me, I think that like, I don't know that they make it to a Game 7. I don't even know that they make it to a Game 6. To be honest, I think this series is done in 5. And I think it's the Yankees. I think the Yankees.
Okay. If the Yankees take Game 3, then it's done. It's done.
If they go 3 in a row, it's over. Forget about it. It's over. No question about that. It's hard to say that sometimes because the Yankees, they've been up and down since 2009. It hasn't looked great all the time, but I love it. Honestly, DMG, man, you're coming out with some of the best stuff for us today. And you're right. The Indians, the Guardians, boom, boom, right? They're really burning through pitchers. These guys are not looking like they should. No. Guys are coming in to start the game and they're out by the 3rd inning, the 2nd inning, and so that's a tough place to be when your whole season you relied on staunch pitching and a great bullpen, and now it's just not working, right? Like the core, that was like months ago. The biggest thing about this team was they got the best pitching in baseball.
Yeah, they're doing, but it's regular season baseball we're talking about.
And playoff baseball is a different animal. A lot of these guys, and so they haven't even been in a situation where they could hand it over, and say, hey, listen, if they could get the lead, that bullpen might look different, but that bullpen doesn't know what to do coming from behind. They're just trying to, at that point, they're trying to minimize damage, not win a game.
Yeah.
So, they're in a tough situation, but 100% of the time, I personally think it's the Yankees to lose. I think everybody knows that. Obviously, it's 2-0, but I think the Yankees are going to the World Series. 100%. 100% of the time.
Yankees going to the World Series since the beginning of whenever the season.
Listen, I'm super excited. Like when I was talking with other guys about this, about the Soto move, nobody was sure, but I said, listen, man, I'm a Dominican guy from uptown. My family's from the Bronx. Like when you get Soto in the Bronx and you get him in that locker room, and the size of the stadium doesn't hurt either, right? He's going to cook, and he's been incredible all year. Everybody already knows that he's the number 1 free agent coming out this season. Everybody, everyone knows that. Are the Yankees if the Yankees win the World Series, They have to give him the most ridiculous contract ever. I don't give a shit. That's just what's necessary. And if they don't win the World Series, they still got to give him a pretty ridiculous contract.
Well,
but
I'll say it now. 330 if he doesn't win a World Series, 550 wins World Series.
And that's the thing. They win the World Series, that guy's getting $500 million. No question. 10 years, $500 million. No question. And it's, you know what? He's earned it. I'm waiting. I told you this, like, as soon as we sign him long term, I'm going right out and I'm getting my Soto jersey. But I wasn't going to get it and think that I might have to get rid of it next year. So I'm excited for it.
But here's one. What if the Yankees make it to the World Series and then get bombed out? And it's not, it's by LA.
Fuck LA. Pardon my language. Okay.
Just for shits and giggles, for that period, I'll bring out the LA gear just when we talk.
Oh, dude. I mean, listen. I don't know. Like,
well, I'm gonna get, if it's a Subway Series, I'm definitely getting the Grimace hoodie.
Listen, man, Grimace is he's an icon in baseball. So New York already has, like, that game tonight. They win tonight. One of the buildings, say Grand Central, will be purple, and the other one will be blue and orange, right? But they Grimace one out, and they make one out to actual Mets colors. I love Grimace. And yes, DMG, no question about it. The man knows what he's doing at the plate. He knows how to take a walk. He knows what he's got to do. He doesn't just swing for the fences. Soto's been he's been a blessing to the Yankees. He was exactly what we needed to transform that 2022 team to this Yankees. Most of the team is the same, but we got Soto, and you see the difference. You know what I mean? He's the guy's a legend. He's a legend in the making, and it gives a lot of confidence to a guy like Judge knowing that Soto's up before him, because he knows he's going to have a guy on base. He doesn't have to just hit a home run to get him on the board. He can hit a double, and he's still going to knock somebody in. And that's fantastic. I literally love this guy for the Yankees. I think that the only place in the league he should be is the Yankees. We're going to see what happens. We are going to see what happens.
Yeah.
So, now moving right along, we're at about 3:30, 6:30 Eastern time, 3:30 my time. And so it's time to switch gears to the NFL, right? The NFL's got a ton of storylines. Before we jump straight to the questions, right? Let me just look here. Okay. Before we jump straight to the questions, let's just talk about the two biggest moves that we've seen in a while. Mari Cooper going from the Browns to the Bills, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the Browns are, and the Browns are still picking up the tab on that too.
Yeah.
So and then you've got Davante Adams, of course, going to his homeboy. And honestly, I respect Davante. I think he's a great receiver, but I think that whole hamstring thing, he was completely full of shit. He just didn't want to play for Antonio Pierce anymore. And I get it. I get it. It was like, listen, get me the fuck out of here. Pardon my language, guys. Family show here. But I understand. I just popping in on Pat McAfee's show, hours after in Aaron Rodgers' house, go fuck yourself from the Raider Nation. I just really he made me a little salty with that. And, the Raiders I root for the Raiders as a second team because my wife is a Raiders fan. I didn't like how he handled it, but I'm glad he's out of there because he was just going to become a toxic thing in the locker room. What do you think about these two trades? Who are the winners? Who are the losers?
Well, actually, I think Vegas wins because they got rid of Davante because, like I said, he would have been a problem.
And how much money would he have cost them next year? Oh, unbelievable. 30-something million,
And you might get him back if you guys get Belichick.
Imagine the Raiders got Belichick. That in itself would be incredible. What I am excited to see, I'll tell you what.
I mean, I heard that Brady wants Belichick, but
Brady, and Brady can get Belichick. Yeah. No question about that. But handing over football operations to Tom Brady is a brilliant move.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm very excited. I mean, listen, look what happened when the 49ers handed football operations over to John Lynch.
Yeah.
John Lynch put together a squad.
Yeah.
Squad. You know what I mean? A perennial contender every season. And I love that. So I am excited to see what happens in that regard. I feel like the only team that lost was the Browns.
No, the Browns always lose it. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't understand. Like, how do you not bench Deshaun Watson? Like,
Because Deshaun Watson doesn't want to get benched.
it's so crazy to me. No offense to anyone who actually still likes that guy, but he's a piece of garbage. He's proven that. He's not a good football player anymore. He's proven that. What's his value? Is he like I don't understand. At this point, it's hard to understand what a guy like that is really doing. I don't know. I think that there's a lot that can go on still in this, obviously in this season, but I feel like it looks like the Browns, both front office and the team itself, have quit on this season. That's what I see. You there?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. Chef.
oh, this guy's cooking. Yo, so, I got Vinny's famous pork pesto in the crock pot right now.
Oh,
I love crock pots. So good. They're so easy for a dad who's trying to do 16 things at once. Make life a hell of a lot easier. No question about that. So now we got Cove's NFL questions for the day, all right? So I'm going to read off the first one here. Baltimore at Tampa Bay. Will the Ravens soar like eagles or get trapped in the Bay? What do you think? What is your final score prediction?
Ravens win. It's just gonna happen. Derrick Henry's on a different level right now, and
it's crazy. He's playing like he's 23 years old.
Oh yeah, because he's finally you finally gave him the goddamn ball.
It's honestly like, okay, so one of the guys I know, or one of the guys in one of our group chats, right, was saying that he traded Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, I've started Zay Flowers in my fantasy every week as a flex player, even though he hasn't always performed, because I know, like, listen, Lamar, he's not my favorite quarterback, but he is probably the best quarterback. And when he gets to throwing and completing passes the right way, I just know Zay is going to go off, and all of a sudden I'm going to have an all-star on my fantasy week in and week out. And it's coming together. It's coming together quickly for them. And so I feel like I'm going to see something. I mean, he might score 30, 40 points in fantasy this week, maybe more. I do think that this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think Tampa Bay can win, but I think the Ravens are rolling right now, and I think they will win. I think the total score is going to be over 70 points, though.
Okay.
Like 30-something to 40-something kind of game is what I'm expecting.
I was kind of thinking about the same, but I'm thinking, I'm going to say 35-25.
It's going to be up there for sure, So I think it'll be a good one. It's definitely definitely a game of the week, I would say, right? I mean, how many more games actually, you know what? Before I even say how many more games could be better, let's jump to question 2. The NFC North, probably the best division in football in 2024. I didn't make that up. The stats just say so, guys. So, right? Now, same kind of question, right? The Lions going to roar, or the Vikings going to be able to pillage this week? What do you guys think? Who takes victory? So I'm going to jump in first on this one. I just don't feel like the Vikings are ready to take their loss yet. I think they come out of this one with another W. I think it's going to be a nail biter. I don't think it's going to be an easy game for either team. But I don't know, man. Detroit is rocking and rolling, and they've got a lot of great work on offense.
But they just lost a key guy in their defense.
Exactly. They just lost Hutchinson, and I think that that's going to reduce a lot of the pressure on Sam Darnold and allow him to continue that quick release on these small plays, which is going to eventually open up a couple times where we just see Jefferson take off and get a 50-yard, reception, 60-yard touchdown. And to me, the Vikings got it right now. I could be wrong. I'd like to be wrong. I love watching Detroit win. They've become like one of the more exciting and I think a favorite team for everybody to see do well. Everyone loves watching Dan Campbell as a coach. Whether it's Amon St. Brown, I'm losing names right now. Gibbs, Montgomery. I mean, no matter who it is, they're just super exciting. A lot of offensive weapons. They have some great gimmick plays. But again, I think that Minnesota's defense has been very tough this season. I just don't see them. I don't think Minnesota loses till like week 10. I think they get to like 8, 9-0 or 8-0 because by week 10 they'd be there. They had a bye. So like I think they get to like 9-0 or 8-0 and then they lose in week 10. That's my prediction.
I have them about 8 or 9 too. Somewhere's around there.
To me, it makes sense.
But
So now, just real quick, I love to shout out our sponsors. Now, guys, if you are a fan of sports betting, I got a couple of good ones here for you. So one of our We Like Sports guys actually got his own website as well. Uncle Joe, the Black Bookie. He does the Sunday Snooze You Lose article for us, which he just picks out one of his favorite games of the week from any sport. It could be baseball. It could be hockey. It could be football. But check out Uncle Joe, the Black Bookie on X and at theblackbookie.com. And then if you like the bets that you see there, you can go to our other sponsor, mybookie.com. And when you use the Sports with the Z promo code, you can get up to $1,000 back in credits to continue that betting. So, guys, check them out. Great articles, great picks. I follow them. I use his picks myself. And my bookie, why not give it a go, right? So that being said, game 3 that we're looking at this week, the Houston Texans and the Green Bay Packers. Now, this one I think is interesting because a lot of people think Jordan Love is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC.
yes.
And C.J. Stroud, I mean, he's been C.J. Stroud since he got out, right? And it's a great clash of quarterbacks.
Great one, for sure.
And then, you've got a great running game and some great running backs on Green Bay. But more importantly, my boy Joe Mixon is back in the mix last week. And you saw what he did last week in New England. For me, I'm going with the AFC. I just feel like the Texans are ready to rock and roll right now. Now that especially now that Stroud has Joe back there in the backfield with them, I think that's tremendous asset to that team. Joe, he's also my starting running back on fantasy, so I want to see him crush it. But I think it's going to be a great game. That's another close game I see. I don't think it's going to be a blowout in either direction. I see that game like it might be like a 38-31 kind of game, something fairly close, but one team just doesn't quite make it there, and for me, that's going to be the Green Bay Packers this week. So what are you thinking on that game?
Texans for sure. It's not that I don't give love. It's the Texans form, everything about the Texans right now. They are what, 4-1 team for a reason, right?
That's a fact. I think a lot of people actually discredit how good they are. And I feel like there's only room to improve. They've got so many offensive weapons. That receiving core is ridiculous. Whether it's Dell, whether it's Diggs, whether it's Collins.
But Nico's still out though.
Yeah, Nico is still out. But obviously they've done very well without him. And then again, I think that adding that running piece back, like having Joe there, just takes so much pressure off the passing game. Because that's just the kind of guy that, like, he's not going to be Derrick Henry. He's not going to get 200 yards, but he's going to give you 90 to 100 yards almost every time, And to me, that's a real asset. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see the game. That's one I'm going to watch, mainly because I have multiple players on that team that are in my fantasy. I'm doing pretty. It's my first season in fantasy. I'm 4-2 right now, so a little pat on the back there. But, still plenty of work to do. And so now the next game, and this next game kind of brings up an interesting storyline too. Miami and Indianapolis, Dolphins and the Colts. The Colts got Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco is a demon in the regular season, man. That guy wins games. For me.
That's why, again, Browns, what the fuck?
Honestly, I was in shock that they let him walk. To me, that was just such an obvious person to keep. He should have been the Browns starter this season. Their season, they'd have a winning record right now.
Yeah.
Just saying. But the thing that this brings me to that's kind of interesting is it's been all over that Tua is planning to play, right? And they're excited to have him back. What do you think about that?
He's not coming back in Buffalo, so he's got 2 games before Buffalo, so we might not see his depth until week 3.
Listen, I just I'm
sorry, but the dude had 5 fucking concussions. He's asking for the next one.
this is my thing. How is there not a doctor that deals with that team that is saying, no, don't let this man play again? He's almost guaranteed another concussion this season.
We're going to see what happened to Hutch's leg to his neck. That's what's going to happen.
It's one of those things that's kind of scary about football, but it's sad. 5 concussions, bro. You're young, he's a young, good-looking, well-spoken guy. Retire and become an analyst.
And the Hamlin hit wasn't even a hard concussion.
No, and that's what I'm saying. If he gets rocked,
rocked, he's oh man, that we're gonna see. Remember the '90s when we had the crash test dummies?
That's what I'm saying. If he takes the wrong hit from a nose tackle, from a DN, from an edge rush, that's what a cornerback did. That's what a small cornerback did. Hamlin's not that big of a guy. Imagine one of these 290-pound guys who runs under 5-second 40 and benches 500 pounds. It's going to be like an actual Mack truck hitting him. And after 5 concussions, it's like the equivalent in boxing. This guy is punch drunk at this point.
Yeah.
It's not if it's going to happen again. It's when it's going to happen again. Just looking at that game, though, like I said, I'm not betting against Joe Flacco, especially not in the regular season. Not a chance. To me, it's Joe's to win. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. So those are the big questions of the week. Now, are there any games? Is there an under the radar team that you're excited to watch this week, or a game that you're so a big storyline for me this week is the offensive rookie of the year situation we got going on. We got the Commanders and the Chicago Bears.
Uh-huh.
That's exciting football. I think it's too early to call it either way.
No, not because Caleb has Rose and Jaden's kind of average there. They're both the same now. Now it's 1 versus 2.
Yeah. It's 100%. It's 1 versus 2.
About it because Caleb's start days. I still think he's not a number 1 quarterback.
Well, and so here's my thing, right?
Weak schedule for the Bears. 2 of his wins were by defense, so he's not coming in as a 4-2 fucking.
These last 3 games that he's had these rock star numbers in were so we had the Panthers, right? The Jags, and I forget the third team now. I'm losing it. But, right, so I was talking with one of the guys. Huh?
Was it Cardinals?
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Let me look before we say the wrong thing here.
Yes.
NFL standings. Get the Bears up here. NFC North, Chicago Bears. All right, let's see what they've done. All right, so it was the Rams, who also have a losing record.
Oh, yeah.
Now, here's my thing, right? Okay. So I actually showed somebody else this.
Oh, and Jags. And then
Against the Jags,
also
right?
116.
He had amazing numbers against the Jags, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the Jags' last 5 games,
Yes.
4 out of 5 quarterbacks had over 100 quarterback rating.
Yeah.
If you look at the Panthers' last 5 games, the lowest quarterback rating was a 94.5.
Mhm.
So, like, 2 of those games were giveaways. Like, you knew the quarterbacks were going to shine in that game. If he didn't, then we'd be having a totally different conversation. But the trajectory that he's on right now,
Yeah.
a lot more exciting than the way the season started.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to keep progressing. I think he's going to keep getting better. But for me, the intangible side of things, I go Jaden Daniels. I think he's just better, more well-rounded at this point. And I think he's more of a like he stepped in as a leader where by his own admission, Caleb is following the vets. He said it himself in an interview. I'm not even making that up, right? So you got a follower and you got a leader. I take the leader every time. That's just me. But to me, that's like that exciting game for the week. I'm really hyped to see it. You know, what do you think? You think the Commanders or you think the Bears?
I'm hoping Commanders because I love it when a number 2 beats a number 1 because I think Jaden's better than Caleb. So it's just I want Commanders to win in this one for that reason.
I like it. Well, listen, I think that's like really all we got this week, right?
Well, the one thing I was going to touch because we did touch hockey is the Johnny G and what the
let's talk about it.
What the Columbus Blue Jackets and the league allowed to happen to let them start the game with the left wing open. I mean, there was nothing else fitting to do. And I'll say it right now, hockey is still the classiest sport when it handles deaths.
Yeah, listen, shout out to Columbus for that. That was really, it was an awesome thing. Shout out to the NHL for allowing it because you know what? The NFL wouldn't have allowed that. They wouldn't have allowed 10 men to line up on the other side of the field. It just wouldn't have happened. Baseball, it wouldn't have happened. So to see that in hockey was great. I love that, and you're right. It really, for a sport where you can literally throw hands on the ice, it's awesome to see that they also have that side of class to them in the touch. Yeah. My daughter's watching Boss Baby back there. She's crazy.
Sports.
But, I love that. Guys, check out Cove. What is your handle on X if you guys want to actually see pictures from that Blue Jackets game?
It's Tailgate Cove.
Tailgate Cove. That's a fact. So, guys, check out Tailgate Cove on X. He's a great follow. The man knows his sports, as you can see. And I'm at Vin Quesada. You can see my name right there under the thing, Vin Quesada 1. And again, we thank you guys for jumping in. DMG on YouTube, you've been awesome today, bro. A lot of great answers, a lot of great responses. We really appreciate it, man. And everybody from us at We Like Sports, have a great night. Enjoy the Mets and Dodgers game.